Hello,
Hey,
everybody.
happy Saturday.
Yes, happy Saturday. What's up, Anisha? How you doing?
Listen, I'm so grateful it's the weekend. Girl, it was a
I
week,
know,
but we made
and
it.
quarantine time, but this whole quarantine has no respect of persons,
No,
so
it
it
don't.
affects everybody.
Yeah.
Um, but then I rise and arise and shine. I'm gonna show up anyway, right?
Anyway, that's right.
So
Yeah,
we're excited
I'm
to
excited.
have everybody joining us this morning. And I'm going
Yes.
to definitely share and make sure we have some more people in the room. But why don't you talk about the fabulous person that we have coming on this morning?
Listen, today we have Courage Molina, and every time I say her name,
Woo!
it's like a prophetic utterance. It just reminds me. I said, "How dope is that your name is Courage?" So we have Courage on the podcast today, and there's three words that I think about her, and these are three words that really follow her everywhere she goes. She's bold, she's confident, and she is
Yes.
courageous. She is the
Yes.
Chief Courage Crusader. And what she does is she applies biblical principles to individuals' lives by offering different courses. She is a coach herself. She's an author. She does a podcast. She has a book club, and we can go on and on and on. She is amazing, and if you don't leave
Hmm.
this podcast encouraged, then I don't know what else we could possibly offer you, because she's
Yes.
amazing.
Without further ado, I want to see her little face in the place. Let's
Yes,
do that.
we
Come
got
on in
one.
the room.
Come
Come on
on,
in the
Courage.
room, Courage. Hello,
Hi,
beautiful.
she's here. Girl,
Yes,
I sound so dope.
you are
You are
so dope.
dope.
I sound so dope. I'm like, yes, she's talking about me. Okay, I see me. Amen. I'm like, all right.
Well, we
Yes,
see you too. We see
we
you.
do.
We
Thank
see the
you.
work God is doing in you. And
Big thing.
when
Listen,
you, girl, I came into the room that day where we shoot, and Benicia runs up to me. Oh my God. Oh my God. I met this woman. She's so powerful. And then, like you used to being introduced, here you come running in right when she says that. Hello, with your book in your hand, so
Mm,
friendly, such a burst of energy and
yeah.
strength, like in your presence.
Mm-hmm.
So, right when you left us, I was like, okay, yeah, we need to talk about her
Absolutely.
thank
because
you. I'm
Yeah.
so
that was
grateful to
power.
be on this show. I know you guys take this very seriously. Like, you don't take it lightly what you've been called to do and the people that you've been called
Yeah.
to serve. So I know it is like, it's a big deal for me to be here. So thank
Oh,
you. Y'all not
Yeah.
just picking any old body. So your
That's
girl
right.
feeling
no,
special
ma'am.
today. I appreciate it. Thank
You
you.
Thank
are special.
Thank
It's
you.
so funny. So, as Tanya was saying, the way we met was so God. It was just
you.
so God. So, Tanya and I were preparing for the podcast, and I remember getting there. It was one of those mornings that it was just a lot going on, and I'm doing like 1,000 miles per hour. But in the midst of that, I go past a room and I see, what was the name of your particular session you were having that day? Courage.
That day I was having a Dose of Courage meetup.
Okay.
But the sign that you saw was from the first conference that I had,
Yes.
Faith Ignited. Huge
Okay.
sign, Faith Ignited.
Listen, when I seen Faith Ignited, all y'all who know me know that anything about Jesus just
Ooh,
excites me. I
it was
said,
time.
"Wait, what is this? What is going on next door? I need to peep
Yes.
in and see what's going on." And so I had no clue, because, like Tanya said, you're so approachable and you're so humble. We just started talking, and I had no clue it was even your event. I'm just like, "Hey, girl, I see this Faith Ignited. Come tell me about what's going on." And then you begin to just tell me, about yourself. And I say it was such a God moment, because in this season of my life, God is really teaching me how to be even more courageous, and how to be bold, and how to step out of
Mhm.
fear. So
Mhm.
it was a God moment, because I believe you have something that we needed. And
Yes.
so it was so amazing. And then you told me about your book, because you're a author, Power
Yes.
Principles of Courageous
Mhm.
Living. And I was like, girl, I need one of them books like today. And so from that, we have just formulated such a beautiful sisterhood. And
Mhm.
I knew you were special in that moment, but I had no clue about your story. I had no clue what God has really brought you out of, which we will talk today.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that excited me the most about your story is that we all can find ourselves somewhere in the story, but you didn't allow those things that happen to keep you down. So even your name, Tanya and I were talking about, even your name is like a prophetic
Yes.
declaration.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
you live your name. And
Yes.
so I'm just excited to know you. I'm excited about your story. I'm excited to lay my eyes on someone who had given up
Yes.
totally on
Yes.
themselves, on life. I mean, you was in the pit, behind the pit, under the pit,
Yes.
and to see you flourishing now should give everybody the courage to get out of whatever slump they're in.
Amen.
So,
Yes.
with that being said, uh,
Ooh.
let's give you the floor, hunting, and let's talk about, um, first of all, let's talk about your name and where it came from.
Okay, okay, let's start there. That's a good start. That is a
Good
great
morning,
start.
Calvin.
Good
Yes.
morning,
Good
Calvin.
morning, y'all. I see all these
Good
people over here
morning.
like, hey, y'all. I'm trying to stay
Yeah,
focused, but I'm like, hey, y'all. Over here, Nicole, Felisa, Denise,
come on,
hi.
y'all, in
I
the
see y'all.
room.
Come on in
Yes.
the room. Come get this quick blessing right here.
Yes.
What's crazy is that so my name at birth was Taquisha Shante Patterson, which
Mm,
I love my name
mm-hmm.
actually. I grew up in the neighborhood, you know what I mean? I grew
Yeah.
up in government housing in
Yes.
the hood, you
In the
know.
hood. Yes,
I'm from the
child. Me too.
neighborhood.
Not not
You're like,
Mr.
wait,
Rogers'
not Mr.
neighborhood,
Rogers. It was a
the
different one.
neighborhood.
But it was a
It was
neighborhood
a
nonetheless.
neighborhood nonetheless. And so that was my birth name. But my grandmother, when I was about 6 months old, saw this picture of me, and she was like, "Oh, he was so ugly." She said that I look like, they ain't got no chill in the neighborhood.
What?
No
Mhm.
chill. I had on this little outfit. It was too small for me, and my mom had this bonnet on me, and she said I looked like the Cowardly Lion from The
Mm.
Wizard of Oz.
Okay,
She,
Grandma.
you know how grandmas. She is the giver. Let me just say this. She is the giver of all nicknames.
Yeah,
She is the one who's gonna go ahead and don you with your nickname. So
yeah.
she did her thing, and she was like,
Uh-huh.
she didn't want me to be cowardly, you know.
Mm.
And so she was like, "There's
Wow.
really power in the name." And she would say to me, "What you got that others ain't got?" And
Mm.
she would say, "Courage." And she taught me to do the same. To this
That's so
day,
cool.
Wow.
that's what we doing. If I call, she like, hey, what you
Jesus.
got that others ain't got? And I'm like,
Yeah.
Kurt, hey, grandma. But what's
That's
crazy is
awesome.
I didn't like that name coming up. I didn't want to be called Courage. I didn't
Mm.
people don't care. You're
Yeah,
from a family like mine, they gonna call you what they say they're gonna call you
that's
because that's
right.
Right.
your name.
Right.
They just calling you that. But I didn't know at the time,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was always who I was going to be. I didn't
Mhm.
know then, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
talking January, summer 20 or 1981. The summer of 1981. I'm about
Jesus.
6 months
Goodness.
old. I didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
right? All those years that I would
And
be
you had to
celebrating
throw that
Jesus,
in there.
Yeah.
right?
6 months old. You had to throw that in there.
Six
Yeah.
months old. You understand what I'm saying? 6 months. You know that this is where I would come, and
Yeah.
so it's crazy how we've been called something, we've been called to be something, and we run from it. Because I ran from that name. I was like, don't call, I want to just, could
Mhm.
nobody else call me that but my family. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
until, you know, I got much older, until in like the recent years I started to really own what that meant and
Mm.
why I was called that and what that would look like.
Yes.
And so I
Yeah.
am so grateful. grandmas may not have tech, but they do. Listen, I will say, in my grandmother's defense, that I definitely look better with age. Okay,
They just tell it like it is, but they
okay,
also are the
Oh,
ones that
yes.
generally pray,
yes,
and like
Mhm.
you said, like put that stamp of approval on you. So
yes,
really, it's like, Abraham and God changing his
yes,
name. Like that's
yes,
Yes.
exactly what he used your grandmother to do. And
Mhm.
so kudos
That
to
is the truth.
grandma. Thank you
yes,
for seeing and calling what she couldn't see, at
right.
the time. So
And it
that's
is now
Yes.
my
amazing.
legal name, for the record, because I got to that place studying the Bible. It's so, like, it's no coincidence that you mentioned Abraham,
Yeah.
because that is the area I was studying when I felt God telling me to change my name legally. And I did
Mm.
not just say, yes, Lord, yes. I was like, you tripping. I'm like,
We do tell them that
I
sometimes.
was
Yeah.
like, you, I can't. I'm like, man, I can let people call me Courage. I can start to embrace it. But you're talking
Mhm.
about a legal name change. This is me asking the Lord and Savior, do you know what that's going to take?
Right. He
The
like,
Yes.
ridiculousness. Like,
That's a lot.
ma'am, do you know who you're
do
That's a
I
talking
lot.
to?
care? Just be obedient.
Yes. And so it took some time for me to get to that space where I was ready to, like, own that there was a serious calling, that God saw me as an
Mhm.
individual. Right? We know
Mm.
that God sees us, and we know that we the
Everything
collective
about
are
us.
called, right?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it's something different
Yeah.
when you recognize, no, I am being called. He is speaking to me as an individual. There
Mm.
is an
Yes.
individual anointing and calling on my life. How
Yes.
will I respond? And so it took
Mhm.
some time, but I finally said, yes, Lord, yes. So
Yeah.
now that is my official name,
Yeah.
Courage Molina. It's on my passport. It's on my
I
birth
love
certificate. I did all the things. So yes,
Walk in your purpose.
it. Come on.
yes, yes.
That's so
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
That's so good.
Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart.
Yes,
That he,
Gregory.
Amen, Greg.
that's right, Gregory. Pull it out. Pull it out. Make it
Yes.
plain.
Yes.
That's good stuff. So you figured out, well, grandma told you who you was,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? When did Courage figure out who she was?
Mm.
Mm. It wasn't an easy road, right? It wasn't an easy road to get here. I think when people hear the name Courage and the introduction, like, she's bold, she's confident, she's courageous. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that they miss the flip side of that,
Yeah.
is like what type of
Mhm.
situation you have to be in,
Come
live through,
on.
and overcome. You
Yes.
understand? To
Yes.
own this, like, I am Courage. God has called me to be the chief
Mhm.
Courage Crusader. How can you lead in an area you have not come through? Do you
Mm.
understand what I'm saying?
Come
I haven't
on.
come
Yes.
through this space. How can I
Yeah.
lead you? How can I be peace and love if I don't know what it means to be peace and love? And so to be Courage, that was not a world that was easily won. I was a teen
Yeah.
parent. I was
Mm-hmm.
pregnant in the ninth grade.
Wow.
And God
Mm.
was protecting me even then,
Mm-hmm.
right? God was protecting me even then. I was a teen parent. My
Mm-hmm.
relationship with my boyfriend, my husband now, he bae now,
Mm-hmm.
um, was one of great turmoil. We fought. I was real feisty. I say I was from the hood. I wasn't from the hood. I was, about whatever that meant. I was for
Right.
it,
Yeah.
You were
rumbling,
ready. You was
yeah, I
ready.
was rumbling and tumbling. Yeah, 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 definitely.
Look,
Getting into
the
trouble.
hood was in you, huh?
Yes, that's right. I wasn't just in it; it was in me. Facts. Amen. And
Yes.
so I brought that, and he was too. And so we brought that entire relationship, and we were so young. We're talking 14,
Yeah.
15 here, and we just were not equipped.
Mm.
Duh.
Yeah.
We were
Mhm.
not equipped at 15. And so, when you hear that we've been married for 19 years, it sounds beautiful. It sounds so great. But realizing that what that means is that all of the growing that we did, all of the damaging that you do in relationships that don't last, we
Mm.
did to
Mhm.
each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
typically, you cause damage, emotional hurt to somebody, and y'all break up,
Mhm.
and then you have
Yeah.
learned from that, and you learn how to communicate in that next relationship. No, the person I look at right now, the man that I say I love, he is the man that has hurt me greater than anybody else in this
Wow.
world. And the same is true when he looks at me,
Yeah.
you
Come
know?
on.
Yes.
Tell the
And we
truth,
cause
Courage.
each
Yes.
other that pain. So the
Mm.
wounds that he carries, I put them there, right?
Right.
Because we got together so young. And
Mm.
Mm.
so that type of relationship being ill-equipped, it's not
Mhm.
a surprise to me as
Yeah.
I look back, but it led to a place of depression, great
Mhm.
depression, low self-esteem,
Mm.
low self-worth. I started to my identity then became attached to my marital status as
Mhm.
long and the temperature of our marriage. So as
Right.
long as things were going well, then I was
Wow.
a good person, then I was
Mhm.
worthy, then I was deserving of love. But if we were fighting and we were going through these seasons where we thought we wouldn't make it, then that also meant like the death of the marriage also meant the death of courage.
Mm.
That I would no
Mhm.
Mm.
longer exist.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
that stuff, that is sticky stuff.
Yeah.
You
Right.
don't just
Yeah,
come
it
through
is.
and get over it. It's not like, oh, well, we're doing good now. So I don't remember the things you said and how I felt in those other moments. It's just not true.
Right.
We dealt with infidelity.
Mm.
There is nothing to solidify your belief that you are
Mhm.
unworthy of love
Yeah.
than an affair.
Whew.
Come on. Been there,
Nothing.
check. Got that hat
Okay.
t-shirt. Yep. Yes,
You
ma'am.
understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? There isn't
Yeah.
anything to make to like put icing on the cake. Like, yep, you thought you were
Mhm.
unworthy. Here is proof. You thought
Right.
that you were not worth the trouble. You're not worth the work. Nobody cares if you're around. Here
Mm.
is proof of that. And so what we do and what I did is anything I went through, all the trials and tribulations, I made them mean something. I created a narrative. Because this has happened, that means I'm not
Mhm.
worthy.
Right.
Because this has
Yeah.
always been going on, it means there's no hope. If I, in my heart,
Mhm.
want to stay married, what does that say about how I feel about myself? What type of
Right.
woman, what
Mhm.
type of self respecting woman
Mm.
stays with a man who's cheated on her? What
Mm.
type of self respecting woman wants to work on a marriage where the man doesn't seem that interested?
Mhm.
Come
So that
Mhm.
on. Come on,
also adds
courage.
on to the feeling of like being unworthy. Because if you
Yeah.
loved yourself more, then you wouldn't stay. And we hear that in popular psychology. We hear that in the church. Also,
Mhm.
we listen. We saying that in church groups.
Right. Right.
When you
Yes.
are not being
Yes.
loved and supported in
Mhm.
your marriage, we are saying
Mhm.
in church groups, it is time to leave.
Yeah.
Which is not always the case, courage. And 19 years in, obviously the Lord showed you, the Lord, that that wasn't the route that he wanted you to go. And that's why I'm so excited that you're here, is because really God has the ultimate say so. Even when things happen to us that are devastating and we don't understand, we still have to go to him for the instruction on, do I stay or do I leave? And even being in the midst of, I'm divorced, and the things I went through, every time I would go to God, he would turn the mirror on me. Like, but what
Mm.
are you doing?
Won't he do that?
What won't he do it? You're like, but
Yes.
God,
That mirror. That
come
mirror.
on.
Let
The
me tell you
mirror
that
is
mirror.
real. And that's one
Yeah.
thing I love about you and your story, because you had to do the work. We
Yes.
can't control what other people do, and how they want their healing to come about, but we
Yes.
can control what we choose to do. And I want you to talk about that. But the one thing I want to go back is, even though you were a teen mom, and
Yes.
those things happen, and we look at it hindsight, you still had some courage that probably you didn't know was defined, because you still graduated college,
Yes.
even in the midst of
Girl,
being
college,
Yes.
high
come on,
school.
Yes.
high
You know what I'm
school,
saying?
Yes.
college,
Yes.
and by the time you got to college, how many children did you have? Because I've
Listen.
been reading the book, honey.
Listen.
I've been reading the book.
By the time I got to college, I had two kids and I had one on the way.
Jesus.
Goodness.
Jesus, Jesus.
Yeah.
But still was, again, the courage that we can't see at the time, and the strength
Mhm.
that God gives us, you still was pushing through. It
Yes.
might have
Yes.
not been the healthiest way. And so, that's what I want to talk about when you talk about, being depressed. I know you started to drink. I know there was times
Oh
that
yeah.
you didn't even want to get up in the morning.
Yes.
You didn't feel like you were being a good wife. You didn't feel like you were being a good mother. But the work that you put in, and you couldn't have said it any better, that people see who you are today, and most
Yes.
people do. They see who you are and what you have, but they don't
Yeah.
understand the work, the
Yes.
effort that you had to put into and partner with God. Because
Yes.
sometimes we just want him to be a genie in the bottle.
And do it
Lord,
all
you
by
do it.
himself. That's right.
Exactly.
Yes,
I
yes.
pray
And
God to get him to do stuff by himself. He
Yes.
ain't with that. He ain't with it. I'm like, well, you could just do it, and I'm gonna sit right here.
I'll
Yes.
step up
Yes.
after you get it done. So,
Exactly,
I'll just
Tanya.
stay here and have the baby because
I'll
everybody's expecting
maintain.
me to quit school anyway. So
Yes.
why don't I just do that?
That's so true.
You've been making constant decisions
Mm,
from that 6 month old moment
mm,
when Mama D said, "Who are you? What
mm,
do you have?" She planted seeds in you. And even I think through those tough times, you chose to make courageous decisions because
mm,
that's what you were planted in.
Right.
mm.
You
Yeah.
know what?
So
I love that. You know, we're talking about like this past. I think it's so important for us to sit here for just a second. You're
Mm-hmm.
right. My grandmother planted those seeds, and I did use that to get through high school, to get through college. But the thing is, at that time, my identity was that I'm a smart girl and I'm a hard worker, right?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
Getting pregnant, nothing, when you know who you are, right? It doesn't matter whether you're right or you're wrong about who you are, but when you accept an identity for yourself, you own that
hmm,
identity, hook, line, and
yes,
sinker.
Yeah.
Nothing really changes that. You can experience things and you're like, yeah, that might be true, but this is still a fact. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
yes.
Because people were like, oh my gosh, how are you going to graduate from high school? I'm like, you are an idiot. I'm obviously going to graduate because I'm going
That
to do
was
the work.
never in question.
Right.
Right.
Because I'm still smart. I still have the ability to learn. I'm still a hard worker. So that was how I was going to do it, was never a question. Getting pregnant, all the things that I went through as a teen mom, that never slowed me down because of the identity. But fast forward to the depression,
Mm-hmm.
I had allowed my experiences to change my identity. I no longer
Mm-hmm.
saw myself
That's
as
good
a
right there.
person who could
Yes.
make it happen. I no
Yes.
longer saw myself as a person, who was loved. And you can have great confidence in one area. Cause
Come
I don't think
on.
I've ever felt dumb not even in my worst day. I never
Yeah.
felt like, oh,
Hmm.
I'm not
Yeah.
smart. I've not felt that. But
Mm-hmm.
Right.
you can have a lot of confidence in one area and think that means you're confident
Come
until the
on.
Lord exposes
That's so
these
good.
underbelly, right? And these sensitive and
They
tender
pull that mask off.
and
Yes,
now you
ma'am.
can see, like, okay, you're right. You're confident when it comes to this.
Hmm.
But if one little thing happens to you over here, you come undone. And so,
Yes.
as my identity was
Woo!
marriage, when that thing wasn't going well, I was
Mm-hmm.
already drinking, like socially drinking, right? We were just
Mm-hmm.
drinking socially. But then after a while, it turned into a place where
Mm-hmm.
that was my solace. That is where I went to like numb it. That's where I went to usher myself into this place of darkness.
Mm.
Um, and I wasn't interested in coming out of it because I didn't even think it was possible. We had been together, we started
Wow.
dating in like 1995 or something like that. We're
Yeah.
talking 2009 or 10 when
Mm.
things got the absolute worst for me. There were
Yeah.
seasons in my life where I had bouts of depression,
Yeah.
and because they went unnoticed, undiagnosed, they went unchecked. And so
Mm.
I never stopped to say, okay, let me see what my triggers are. Okay, let me see what my strategies are going to be. How do I respond? So as
Yeah.
long as things were good, my depression was at bay. But there
Mm.
just came a season where my whole life was just falling down. Things
Jesus.
were
Right.
crazy with my marriage.
Mm.
My very close relative had been diagnosed with cancer, and
Mm.
we were close our whole lives. Like, you know how it is.
Mm.
We grew up
Yes.
in the same projects. We
Right.
lived in the same house when we was little, and
Yeah.
we always stayed close. And so, here I am now in my 30s, and I'm married to a man who is, for all intents and purposes, like not in love with me, has cheated on me, probably feels this sense of
Ooh,
loyalty
that's so good.
because of where he came from. His parents have been married for forever. So divorce just wasn't a thing. And misery was okay with him, right? So
Mm.
I'm like, he's here, not because he's happy,
Right.
but
Right.
because misery is okay with him. And
Mm.
he's never going to leave me because of these kids, right? But when these kids leave, then we're going to be done.
Wow.
Mm.
Believing that he was there because of them and not because he loved me. Living in a house with that type of rejection, whether real or just projected,
Mm.
that is
Hmm.
that's I understand why they say a man's house is his castle, because that is
Mhm.
supposed to be your place of solace. When you go
Yeah,
out into the world and you have to deal with that, you're supposed to be able to come home
that's
and get
good.
filled up. I was in a toxic world outside my house to come and live in the
Right.
toxicity,
Mhm.
in my own home, in my own marriage, and in my own mind
Wow.
and my body,
Right,
you
right.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that it was just like drinking
There
was
was
just
no escape, basically.
no, there
Wherever
was
you
no escape.
were, there was no escape at that time.
Yes.
So even the
Everything
seeds
felt good.
planted,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
you lost sight of those seeds.
Yeah.
I can relate to that because when my business failed in Baltimore and I relocated to Seattle, and then came poor health. It was like boom, boom, boom,
Mhm.
slap, 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 right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was no solace anywhere. The
Mhm.
only place that I found it was in the house of the Lord. So I
Yeah.
found myself running to that to kind of get to hold on to something that was
Mhm.
outside of me that was okay because I felt like I wasn't okay,
Right.
so that I
Mhm.
mean that you make some really solid points because you can just be so it gets dark.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
word, right? It gets
Mhm.
dark. It's
It
like you're
does.
searching for a light, any kind of light, whether it's a 20-watt bulb, a 50-watt,
Yeah.
you just need some light.
Yes. That's
So
so true.
And
Yeah.
talk
when you
about
can't see the
go ahead.
light, when you can't see it, it's this
Yeah,
sense of like hopelessness, right?
It is.
I
Yeah.
cannot see the
yeah,
light. Now I don't think the light is ever coming. The light will never shine again. My cousin lost his battle with cancer, and that was devastating. Right?
Mhm.
That was devastating. It's like the
mm,
light is never going to shine again. So what am I living for?
Right.
Right? Which led to the suicidal thoughts. I was already drinking to numb the pain, like in
Mhm.
hopes, like, okay, this is not going to be my life. This is just a season. But when you come
yeah,
to a place where you believe that that darkness and that darkness is so great, it is
Yeah.
like, and it's heavy. It
Mhm.
is physically heavy.
Mhm.
I say when you are depressed and you have this sense of hopelessness, hope is heavy. Hope
Mhm.
is even a burden. Can
That's
you
right.
imagine? You
Yeah.
understand? Like
Mhm.
hoping
yes,
for something great is like a boulder on your back because
Mhm.
you're not connected to the source. And I wasn't even trying to say what's up to God. When my
Mhm.
cousin died, I was like, "Oh, we good, fam.
Mhm.
You do
Right.
you, because that's what
Mhm.
you're doing anyway.
Right.
You
right.
doing you anyway. So I'm gonna do me, and we all gonna die anyway. Like I just had this. I'm over it.
Mhm.
I never doubted his existence, but I was angry because I felt like you could have made a different choice and you didn't. Which
Mhm.
then, listen, now my husband is rejecting me. My husband's saying I'm not worth the trouble. And now my God is saying I'm not worth the trouble. I'm not
Mhm.
important enough to him for him to answer my prayer. And that's just
Mhm.
real.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people don't talk about that. You know what I mean? In
Hmm.
church, we're like, and we know at the end of the day, and everybody who knows me, that Jesus is final authority, period. His word, his all of that. But I've also been in places like you, whether it was through my divorce, whether it was through death, whether it was through diagnosis, things of that nature, where you're disappointed
Yeah.
in God. You're upset sometimes with God, and he's big enough to where he can handle that, and he meets us in that space. Now, at the end of the
Yes,
day, it's God who's going to bring us out. That's why his mercy and his grace doesn't operate like people's, because even though we were in that place, when we turn to him, he's still like, I've been waiting. I am right here. And the other thing that you said that I don't think a lot of people realize that I went through as well when I was going through my marriage, is that at one point the Lord was like, you've made this relationship a God.
Yes.
You've made
come
him
on.
a God. You've made the pain a God. And I'm like,
Yes,
how how is that even possible? And he
Yes.
said, anything that you think on and you concentrate on more than me, it's become a God, and it's become an idol. And you don't realize it. Like you said, you can even make pain your identity, because
Yes.
that's the only thing you think about is, I'm in this pain or what they did to me. And only God can bring you out of that, just like he did you. So let's talk about
that's
that.
so good, Bernicia. That is so good.
Oh my gosh, I've been there. I
Yeah.
understand, like you said, the hopelessness and not knowing that I had taken on that identity, because because,
Mm-hmm.
the enemy's job is to kill, steal, and destroy. And especially, I think somebody mentioned on the comment is when you have an anointing on your life. He's like, if I can
Yes.
quiet courage, if I can keep her down, then guess what? She ain't gonna
Yes.
have no crusade. It
Right.
ain't gonna
That's
be no
right.
other individuals,
Right.
So it's some of the decisions that we make, because I'm big on holding ourselves accountable, but some of the things are spiritual things that are
Yes.
taking place. It really is
Yes.
a spiritual warfare, for better lack of words, that is
Yes.
happening.
Right.
So let's talk about your breaking point where, okay, I am upset with God, all of these things have happened, my identity has shifted because of all of these unexpected events that have taken place in my life. What happened that caused you to turn to God after feeling that way about him?
Um,
Yeah. Before you answer that, can I just
Yeah,
say one thing?
sure.
You were
Please.
mad at him, weren't you?
Hmm.
Like you
yeah.
were
Hmm.
Oh
angry
yeah.
with
Yeah.
him.
Yes.
You were
Yeah.
like, okay, let's just say you was pissed.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
That's the
annoyed. And I don't want to
yeah.
hear no gospel music. I don't want to hear no encouragement.
Right. Don't
Yeah,
give me a
encourage
scripture.
yourself. Okay,
Okay.
encourage yourself, friend.
Yes.
Right.
I'm cool. We good over here.
Don't come
Mhm.
at me with no scriptures. Take it to the
Listen,
car.
Right.
Go away with
Yeah.
your self.
Yeah.
don't let them scriptures turn me back to the old me and I'll pop you in your mouth. Keep your
Right.
scriptures because I
Right.
was big mad. I was big mad.
Yeah.
I was big mad, man. I
Big
really
mad.
was big mad. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify because you know Benicia is so nice, but she said upset. And I was like, I know the
Yeah.
Nisha off Benicia. If you took the
Right.
butt off and it
Oh
was
yeah.
just Nisha,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh, we
yeah.
call her Quisha. I try to keep
Quisha.
her. I try to keep her at bay. I try to keep her at bay.
Exactly.
So you was in Quisha
Exactly.
mode. Yes, you was in
Yes.
Quisha mode.
Listen. You ain't lying, friend. I definitely was. There were a couple things, right? I think that sometimes we think there's this big moment, but when we look back, there are these moments that set us
Hmm.
up. And one was rock bottom. I was ready to be done.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, I was just going to walk into traffic. I left everything. And
Girl.
I left my house walking
Jesus.
and my husband and my children. And I was like, okay, where can I go? I want to make sure that I don't want to be mangled. I want to make really actually seriously thinking this through. And I was just crying. I couldn't believe my life was so sad that I didn't even want to live it. And I was sitting in this parking lot. And then my best friend
Mm.
comes into the parking lot like on two wheels,
Mm.
hop out the car. She's like snatching me up. I was so confused. I'm like,
Mm.
Ooh.
How did you even
What
know
you
where
say,
I
I
Benicia?
don't
What
even
is
know where I
happening?
was. I'm like, and I'm like, what are you doing?
God.
How are you not at work? I was so, first of all, when I say confused,
Hmm.
how did you know where I was? I did not take my cell phone. I did not tell anybody where I was going.
Look at God.
Mm,
How did
Hmm.
you
mm-hmm.
even know this was happening? Because I didn't tell anybody. Like, why are you not
Yes,
at work? I kept saying, why are you not at work right now?
Right.
She was like,
yes.
don't worry about it. Get your butt up.
Won't
And
God do
Mm-hmm.
it?
we were talking about this the other day, and she was like, there was a conversation I had with somebody the night before, and they just said it didn't sit right with their spirit.
Mm.
Yeah.
We were a group of friends, and we still are a group of great friends. And so she called because she lived here and was like, hey, have you talked to her? Because I've been
Mm.
calling her all day. She was like, something don't feel right. You need to go
Jesus.
find her. I'm like, and so you
Look at
left your
that.
job? She was like, we have been feeling it. So you don't know you depressed. You think, I didn't know I had been depressed as long as I had been, but
Mm.
they knew. They
Hmm.
were,
Yes.
they was my real friends that you don't always like,
Right.
having these conversations about like, what
Mm-hmm.
are we going to do? We need to keep her in prayer. We need to make sure that we are keeping up and checking in on her and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so Shalanda called Olivia. Olivia left her job and came looking for me, and the Lord brought her to me. And I was like, dang,
Jesus.
this people say this thing. I'm like, I can't believe
Yes.
somebody for me,
Right.
But even in that moment, even after that, I was still
She gonna
depressed.
send them.
I was
Hmm.
still miserable. I was
Hmm.
still
Yeah.
living in the house that I was in. I was still in the same mindset. And so after a while, I just started to pretend to be okay because
Mm.
people were so worried, and I'm just like, okay, everybody just kind
Tell
of
the truth, courage.
Mhm.
Yes.
back to being okay. We just
Mhm.
want you to be okay. It's not that we don't want you to heal, but we want
Yeah.
it to hurry up because
Mhm.
we don't like to see you this way. And
Right.
so I just pretended to be okay.
Mm.
Yes.
I was going back to church, but I was just so sad still. I was still
Mm.
so sad on the inside all
Mm.
the time. I don't remember not being sad. I used
Mm.
to say I hate my life all the time.
Mm.
And this lady invited me to church. So I went to church with her. I had been going to church anyway, but she was trying to get me to go to her little church. I was like, girl, I ain't going to that church. But she would not leave me alone. So I went, and it was elevation. And I Googled elevation, and I didn't see all good things. So I
Mhm.
was like, it didn't look like where I come from. You know,
Right.
they
Right.
were different looking
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sounding
This
than
better not
me.
be a cult, lady, that
Listen,
you're
I was
attending.
already like,
You hear all kind of
let me
stuff.
tell you something right now. I will leave this. I will leave as soon as I see something
Right.
don't sit right.
I'm
I will
out of
pack
here.
up my stuff. I'm out.
I'm
And so
out
when
of
I
here.
got there, there was a line. I was annoyed before I even got in the building. There was a long line because we went to where broadcasting is. I'm like, oh, this is definitely a cult. They acting like this dude is Jesus. I'm like, Jesus outside. Why we lined up? You know, it was just, I just did not,
Wait,
because I didn't want you
courage.
to
That
listen.
is so true. When I first went to the church, I said, this is the only church I ever been that looks like the club. Who is waiting in line to
Fine.
get in? I could not, that was overwhelming for my mind
No,
to
it's too
think.
much. It's too much.
It
I'm
was
like,
too
they
much.
acting like I'm like, he not a celebrity. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. Got in
And then,
there, music. This is the thing. I just want you to understand I did not go in thinking, oh my gosh, this is gonna be the sermon that changes my life. I went
Right.
in like
I'm here.
yeah.
waiting on somebody to do something.
Strange
Looking,
fire. That's right, Nicole.
looking,
Yeah.
looking for something to go wrong. The music, I'm
Hmm.
like, this is not, I don't know what in the club type of music this is. And then the guy comes out, which I never really saw him before. Maybe I saw a picture of him, but he's kind of short on stage. I'm like,
Yes.
this little short white dude with these sneakers on. He about to preach in his sneakers. I was like, oh, this is
And he
I am
rocked
out of
your
my
world, didn't he?
element.
He rocked
and
your world.
tell
We
you,
cracking up because we had those same thoughts.
do you
Listen.
understand?
Rocked your world.
And this dude did that thing. I was like in awe. I was shouting. It was exactly what I needed to hear.
Yes.
He
Yes,
preached on
ma'am.
the expectation gap. When God does not meet your
Come
expectation,
on. I
that's
was
where
in that
frustration. You understand? I was
Come
like,
on.
yes. I'm like, yes, because God did not meet my expectation.
Yes.
Now, what we gonna do
Yes.
about it? Amen. Now what?
Amen.
Because you're right.
Yes.
I'm with you. He ain't always doing what I
Yes.
need him to do. So now what? Amen.
Jesus.
And he
Amen.
was like, he was like, but God is still good.
Yeah.
He was like, it doesn't always work
Yes.
out. Sometimes you lose a job. Sometimes
Mhm.
the marriage ends.
Yes.
Sometimes they walk out.
Oh my God.
Sometimes you bury somebody you love. He was like,
Mhm.
and God is still good.
Still good.
Yes,
That
he
was the
is.
first
Yes,
time
he is.
I considered the idea that I could be so hurt and disappointed,
Jesus.
and God could still be good.
Hmm.
I just,
Yes. What a
I,
concept, right? What a
right,
concept.
Oh my
What a
gosh.
concept. He
this
could
is,
I
still
think,
love me through all of this.
yeah.
He could still be there.
he
Mm.
could still
You
be
know,
there.
because my thing was that line to this day still will make me cry is I will never leave you. I will never forsake you.
Right.
So no matter how dark it gets, that comfort in my spirit of knowing that he's still there.
Yes. So
You
good.
know, I could be mad at him. I'm not even talking to you right now because I don't know what you're doing with my life.
Mhm.
But in the back of my mind, I know he ain't going nowhere. He's still there. When you snap out of it, whatever it
Mhm.
is, I'm gonna be right here and we're gonna fix it together. But I'm gonna need you to come to me because I never left you.
That's
Right.
so good. This moment right here is like a God moment right now because everything that you guys are saying, I remember being in that particular sermon, and that
Hmm.
was the beginning of my healing process because my
Oh,
mom had passed.
oh my,
And I remember being in that, and he was talking about not feeling guilty and being able to like move on, and that changed the trajectory for me. So I get it. And the
Mhm.
thing about that particular sermon that I think is so imperative, and you walk in this, and Tanya, you walk in this, is his transparency and his authenticity. I had
Yes.
never heard a
Yes,
pastor
ma'am.
Yes.
say that God disappoints sometimes.
Yes.
Never. And I have
Yes.
been
Yeah.
in church all my life. That's when I
Yes,
said,
ma'am.
listen here. I
Yes.
don't know who this man is,
Come on.
but
But
he
he
is
telling the truth.
teaching and
Yes.
preaching in such a way that really meets you where you are. He's not
Amen.
denying God's deity, his power, his healing, none of that. But what he's
Mm-hmm.
saying is, it's okay
Yes.
for you
Yes.
to be disappointed. It's okay. So I'm just like, to know that that sermon touched all of us in such an intricate way is
Yes.
so
Yes.
God.
And it's so
Yeah, it
Wow.
now,
really is.
Courage. Don't you believe that it's now too, Benicia?
Oh
Because
yes.
look at what
Yeah.
the country's going through. And
Yes.
it would be so normal for us to sit back. And I'm sure there's so many people that are on their journey right now that are saying, what kind of God would allow something like this to
Oh
go
Mhm.
yes.
That's
down?
true.
Yes. Yes.
That's true.
And then you have the other set that's saying, well, it's in the book, read chapter so and so, line so and so,
Mhm.
it's the ending times, right?
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
other folks are like, I don't care what the book says. If he was
Mhm.
all that in a bag of chips, we wouldn't be going through all this.
Mhm.
Right.
Where's the
Right.
cure?
Mhm.
So it's a very interesting time that we're in for current believers,
Right.
Mhm.
sanctified believers,
Right.
Mhm.
new believers,
Yeah.
and unbelievers.
Right.
Mm. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
idea, understanding like that when he said that this life with Christ can sometimes be disappointing,
Jesus.
and he just stood there.
That, yes, he
He
Yeah.
did.
ain't he
There's
ain't
no
cutting it
further
up. He
explanation.
didn't do like, oh, but it Lord, he didn't do any of that. He was like,
Right.
this life with Christ can be disappointing. He said, and I tell you that because I don't want to sell you a bill of
Mhm.
goods. And then when you get on this
Come
walk and
on.
you are disappointed, you lose your faith.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it
Mhm.
helped me to see that God grieved with me.
Yes.
Yes.
But I wasn't the only one that
Mhm.
was grieving this loss of life. That God was too, because He never wanted this for us,
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
right?
Oh, that's
That He
good.
was hurting because I was hurting. When my
Mhm.
Yes,
children
ma'am.
hurt, I hurt. When my
Yes.
kids are crying, I'm crying,
Yeah.
right?
That's right.
That's
When my
right.
kids are going through it, I'm going through. And
Mhm.
understanding it helped me to see that God is a father like that,
Yes.
Yes.
active and present, you
Mhm.
know, a part of what I'm going through with me in the storm,
Mhm.
feeling this thing for me, you know?
Yes.
And
Mm.
so it's like, that was different. And I continued to go to that church and I was waiting for him. I'm going to be honest, okay? I'm going to be honest. I'm like, you can't be, I'm gonna be honest. It's just a place I can be honest, please.
Absolutely.
I was waiting for him to not be that good. I'm like, he can't be this good every week. Like that can't be a thing. Like he
Yeah.
is so. It's no way. Like one of these, I'm gonna keep coming, and one of these Sundays, he ain't gonna be that good. But he was
Mm.
so good every week. My
Yeah.
kids were
He's
immediately
amazing.
involved, and I started thinking to myself, man, I want to know the Bible like him. I bet you he really
Mm-hmm.
knows it, you know. And then he started
Yes.
about tithing and giving your first fruits
Yes.
to the Lord, right? He was talking about that and see will not
Mm-hmm.
pour you out a blessing. And I started thinking, what if I
Mhm.
gave God 10% of my day?
Come on. Let's talk about that right there.
Yes, I love that part of your journey. Spend some
Right.
time there. I
Yes.
want to put a shout
You
out
know?
to Vicky though, because
Mhm.
Vicky just made a
Mhm.
point that warmed my heart because that's why we do this, Vicky.
Yeah.
Because when you leave here, you walk off with you're on a journey to reclaim your power.
That's
It's
right.
there, sweet girl. It is there. Thank you,
Yes.
Precious. Thank you, Vicky.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everybody that's in the room
Everybody.
for
Yes.
joining us this morning. Courage, please talk about that
Talk
10%.
about that,
Please, because
girl.
that
Right?
was such a pivotal thing in your story.
It really
Yeah.
was. It changed. It's how I got here. Like that's how I'm me. I feel like
Mhm.
I felt like if I could give him 10% of my day, what would that look like? I believe that God is a God of like principle and systems. There are
Yes.
principles in the Bible.
Say it.
He's
Mm-hmm.
given us these systems in the Bible. Like
That's
these
right.
are not worldly systems. These are the
Yep.
systems of the kingdom. He's very organized. It's not magic, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, And it was like, okay, if he's gonna bless he's talking about blessing like my finances and the things that I have stored up. If I give 10% of that, what would it
Right.
look like to give 10% of my time? Could
Come
I get more
on.
time on this earth?
Mhm.
What kind of blessing would he pour out for me in that way? Like, I wonder what that would look like. And so
Right.
I took out my little calculator. Listen, that is
10%
friends.
of 24 hours.
It's 2 hours and 24 minutes. And I was like, oh, that's a lot now. I was like, that's not
I
really
love you,
reasonable.
Jesus, but that's
I
a
was
lot of
that's
time.
a
I
lot
got
of
babies and a
Yeah.
I
husband.
got kids, I work, I was a teacher, and I feel like when you are a classroom teacher, y'all know that stuff just spills out. There ain't no start and stop to it. There ain't no weekends,
Right.
there
Mm-hmm.
ain't no dang on holidays. You just
Yeah.
always doing something for these,
Always.
Mm-hmm.
these stuff. And so I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But I just kept thinking about it. I didn't do it.
Mhm.
But I just kept thinking about it. And so I started with like 15 minutes and then 30 minutes. And then I finally got up to 2 hours and 24 minutes a day.
Mhm.
And I was just like devouring everything. I was trying to get a PhD in Jesus, in
Mhm.
faith. I
Come
was
on.
desperate
Come
for
PhD in
on. Yes,
Jesus.
Felicia,
for,
building relationships.
I was
Mhm.
Yes.
desperate. And I started with my marriage, and it's just like Benicia said.
Mm.
When I first started praying about my marriage, I was like, let me tell you all the stuff that you can start working on. Because I got a list, Lord.
Right.
I got a list. So first of all, he needs to do this, like, all of those things. And
Yes.
God was like, what about you? I'm like,
What about
no,
you? Mhm.
can you let him talk to you about me? Because
Yeah.
this is my prayer session. I put this prayer session on the books, and this is the agenda that I have, Lord. If you can stay focused
Right.
on the list that I
Yes.
have.
You told
Lord,
Jesus to
listen,
stay focused.
listen, if you,
Yeah.
Lord, if you
Wait a
can
minute, Courage. Wait, you told Jesus to
the
stay focused.
For him
Lord,
to stay
if
focused.
you can
I
stay
can't.
focused on the
We
list,
be out of order. We be out
Lord,
of
just
total order.
just no sense. And then he would be like, girl, and I'll be like, oh, okay, I was just kidding.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh, okay. It's about me?
okay,
Oh, okay.
so that's what we
Okay.
doing.
Like he
I,
told me, you in the wrong scriptures. That's what he told me. I just
yes,
burst out laughing because I was looking
listen,
up Ephesians 5. This is what it says about a man. He said, "Oh yeah, no, you in the wrong one. Let's go to this white scripture
okay?
over here."
Listen. And so the Lord just turned that mirror on me.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
when the mirror is turned on you, that allows you to have more grace for the other person.
Yes.
Now
That's so true.
all like the Lord then gave me a whole list of where I'm
Mm.
slipping on my pimping. Now
Jesus.
Come
I
on.
can show him more grace. It didn't change overnight. I do not. What I don't
Yeah.
want to get is the impression that I heard from God and then I immediately started working on me and my marriage got better overnight.
Yeah.
That
It's
does
a
not
process.
happen, friends. It's a
Yeah.
process. I
Mm.
remember showing him love and being loved and trying not to fall into the same things we did before and him responding the same way and me feeling like this is not fair.
Mhm.
Why is it fair that I'm trying to talk nice to him?
Right.
He's still talking the same way we used to talk, but you
Mhm.
want me to keep doing this. Like you
Yeah.
tripping, he tripping.
Yeah.
Right.
Where is the love? I thought we were developing a relationship. This
Yeah.
Mhm.
cannot be what you want from my life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gotta be like God, and you hear it, you hear it in these circles. God wants me to be happy. God's
Mhm.
like, no, I want you to be whole, and I hope that
Come
makes
on.
you happy.
Come on.
But
Holy.
I'm here for
Mhm.
wholeness, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's impossible for you to be happy. I need y'all to get this. It is impossible for us believers, us who are following faith, following Christ, to be happy when we are not in an alignment with God.
Mhm. Come
Hmm.
on.
Those things
So good.
will lead to happiness. So you can
Yeah.
be out of alignment and want things. And it's like, okay, if you got in alignment, you would find that you probably are happier. You understand what your purpose is. You understand
Mhm.
what you've been called to do, what God is doing in this season. And God is
Mm.
strengthening you. God is strengthening you for what he told you to do, not for the foolishness you got yourself in.
Come
Because
Come
on.
on.
Come
no,
on.
Yes.
On your mess.
Okay.
he
Don't
Don't
ain't
be
make me
inviting
run.
him
I
to fix
can't. I
your
gotta
mess.
be still. So
okay.
don't. It's so true
Trying to get
though.
you over here. He gave
Yeah.
you strength for this. That's
Mm.
why you're falling apart over there, because he didn't give you strength for that, because
Right.
he
You don't
played
even
a call
belong
that.
over there. You
You
didn't.
told
Who
me to
told
get
you?
over here.
But if
That,
you spend that time, is
yes,
where you'll get that instruction,
yes,
and
but
Yeah,
it's
then
I
you can
always talk
be
about that.
in
Listening, checking
alignment.
in. Yes, checking in with
Listen.
daddy. You
Listen,
have to check in.
and that's when the word becomes alive. Like it's so easy to just spit it out, and we go to church, we on auxiliaries. And, I remember I used to pray like that. Well, God, I serve and I pay my tithes and I do. And he was like, you supposed to. Like, I
Yeah.
don't, what, is there
What you
a
want, a
reward
cookie?
that I'm
Right.
giving you? Like you wearing this as a badge? Like those are
Yeah.
things
Oh,
that are
that's
going to be
good.
conducive
That's
to
good.
you and wholeness to you and bringing blessings to you. So are you doing it out of duty or are we doing it out of relationship?
Yeah.
And when you
Yes.
were talking about loving somebody who appears to be unlovable. I remember it was a time I was in that season and the guys that loved the hell out of them.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's not always easy. It's not always even
Mhm.
your mind sometimes can't comprehend
Right.
how you're kind of navigating because it's not a natural thing, it's a spiritual thing, and
Right.
unless you stay connected you won't be able to do it because our natural bend
Mm.
is not to love like that.
Nope.
So
Right.
you are absolutely right, you have to stay
Yep.
connected to the source in order to be able to navigate that season. And so
Right.
how powerful that is that you were able to stay true to your relationship with God that then produce fruit in your marriage, your finances, your
Right.
businesses,
Yes.
your
My
ministry,
life.
and
Yeah.
things of that nature. So that's real
It
So that
changed
powerful.
me.
10%, it changed you. The
It
10%.
changed me. It changed me. Right. It didn't necessarily change my situation, but
Yeah.
it changed
Mhm.
me. It changed how I thought, how I
Yeah.
moved. It changed the
Mhm.
standard to which I held myself. It changed my desires. That
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
that is something I never even prayed for that, right? Like I didn't want God to change my desires. I wanted God to give me what I already came to him desiring.
Yes.
Mhm.
I don't want you to change what I want. I want you to
Right.
give me what I want right now. You understand what I'm saying? I want the Lord to get in alignment with my wishes and my
Right.
needs, right?
Come
And
on.
not even praying
That's
about
good.
changing my desires, but spending time in the Word like that with the goal of getting to know Jesus on a personal level and getting to a place where I had wisdom that surpassed my age and my experience, getting to a place where I was walking in what he said I could have.
Mm.
Reading the Bible for that just changed. It allowed me to let go of a lot of things and just completely change. I wasn't holding on to things because I realized those things hadn't worked for me. They
Yeah.
weren't what I wanted. And
Yeah.
we think that it takes this is, it's the truth. You don't have to like it. It's true though. We believe that in order for us to fight for our marriage, both parties have to be fighting. That's
Mm-mm.
not
Not
Bible.
so.
Yeah,
That's
that's
so
Mm.
not
true.
actually not Bible
That's
because I can save the bottom half of my body if my upper strength is good. If we're falling into a pit and my
mm.
bottom half is
Mm.
injured
That's
Mm.
good.
causing me pain, but I've
Mhm.
taken the time to strengthen a different part of my body, I
Mm.
can use my upper strength to pull my entire body. Not leaving I ain't leaving my legs in the pit
Mhm.
wall.
Mm.
I want my legs too. Yes, they are. Yes, it is painful. Yes, they seem a little mangled. They're not helping me. They are literally holding me down. I can use my upper body strength to pull up out this pit.
Mm.
And as
Yes.
marriage, we are
Mm.
one flesh.
That's right.
So
Yes.
strengthen a part of the body, the entire body gets better.
That's
The
so
health
That's
of the
right.
good.
whole body
That's
is
Mm.
good.
better, right?
Mm.
You're in the
Yeah.
gap
When
for
there's
each
a part of
other.
my body that's injured, that's right. When there's a part of my body that's injured, I don't separate from it. I don't
Mhm.
neglect it.
Mhm.
I don't mistreat it.
Mm.
I don't mistreat my leg because my leg hurts. I
Right.
give my leg more love. I treat it more
That's
Mhm.
a
special.
good
I get some
analogy.
good stuff. I'm
Yeah.
rubbing it. I'm talking nice to it. Leg is hurting like I don't know what. And I'm like, oh, I love you though. Don't
Mm.
act like that little leg. Like, come
Mhm.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You trip.
Your feet hurting, you rubbing those feet, you loving it. You have special products. You're taking special time to care for
Mhm.
the part because it's injured. You're getting extra support for it.
Yeah.
You're not still putting your same weight on it saying, I should be able to lean on you.
Mm.
No, I
That's
can't.
good.
So I'm going to get
Mhm.
a crutch. I'm going to
Right.
get something else. I'm going to get something to help support us and
Right.
Yes.
still this entire body can be healed. And that is how
Mhm.
it changed me. That's
Right.
how it changed my marriage.
Mm.
Because I was different. I mean, I responded differently. And ladies, we
Yeah.
have so much power. Women, we have so much
So much
power.
influence and influence.
Yes. Speak
You
Yes.
about the
you
power.
can
Yes.
listen, you can set the tone. My mother used to say that you set the tone of your household, and that used to annoy the heck out of me. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is, I do not, because if he come in with attitude, now the tone is changed. No, I
Right.
set the tone. He can have an attitude. That's him and his feelings. Does not have to change the entire temperature of
That's
my
right.
home. I can still be loved even when someone is being unloving. Right? I
That's
don't
right.
have to respond with darkness. And so that just changed. That changed everything.
Mhm.
And once I came up out of that, came up out of the depression, and our marriage was improving, it was like, okay, what can I do? How
Mhm.
can I help other women? And I started, but one of the things I neglected on this journey is I neglected to learn how to take care of me.
We
I
Mm.
talking
learned
about that self-care. Hmm.
self care.
Self-care is so critical. Let's talk
Yes.
about
Do
that
it.
for a minute.
Just didn't do
Yeah.
it. No, no real sense of what self care even meant. I didn't even really think about it. Like it's the base. If you think of your relationship with yourself, like you do a relationship with another person, it helps you to see whether or not you're in a good and healthy relationship, or if
Mhm.
you are in a toxic and neglectful type of relationship, right? So if I were in a relationship with myself, right, as another person, I would spend time doing fun stuff. I would
Mhm.
spend time
That's
uh,
good, courage.
taking care, like providing for that person's physical needs if they needed me to. I would encourage them to rest when they needed to rest. I would respect their boundaries. I would make sure other people respected their boundaries,
Mm.
because I had advocated for my friends, for my children, for my
Yes.
Mhm.
spouse, but I didn't advocate for myself. I would say
Mm.
it's okay for you to take some time off. You ain't got to work that hard. Take a day. You deserve a day. How is
Mhm.
it that everybody deserved a day, but I never deserved a day?
That's true.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Right?
That is
How is
so
Mhm.
that?
good.
How is that a thing? How am I never taking care of myself? Never doing the things that I love just for fun. Like I'm doing this for me just because I like it. I just like
Mhm.
to dance. I'm probably not gonna be on nobody's stage. Lord, I ain't gonna get on the stage. I ain't gonna be on the stage, but I do love to dance, and I
Yeah.
love to color, and I love to laugh. Why am I
Mhm.
not taking time to do those things? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Yes.
mindfulness, thinking about like gratefulness, allowing my body to assess the things that we had gone through for the day, right? Just
Mhm.
things that we weren't taught. And so that came later. I'm hard headed. So I didn't learn it until I had been in the hospital a couple times. And it was
Mhm.
like, ma'am, it's stress, or
Mhm.
you got hit by a car. So did you get
Mm.
hit by a car? I'm like, first of all, nurse, you ain't got to talk to me like that.
Right. You
Girl,
trying it.
wait a minute. I think we had the same nurse when I was on the treadmill. It was like, it's stress. What are
Right.
you doing? I'm like, don't
Yeah.
don't talk to me like that.
You don't even
Mhm.
know me, ma'am. Okay.
Right.
Right,
Right.
right.
You
When
right
that,
You
though.
know
you might
that.
listen. You might have something. What you was saying to me again?
You right though. You right,
Right.
but
You know,
bring
she's
it
like,
down a little
"Oh,
bit.
what are your stress relieving activities?" I'm like, "I sleep." She was like, "No, ma'am." I'm like, "No, I do sleep. I sleep."
Yeah. She
Hello.
like that's not it.
She's like,
Mm-mm.
"That's
Wrong answer.
like, what are you
Yeah.
doing when you're awake to reduce stress?" I'm like, we think we have to be in crisis.
Mhm.
If I'm in
Mm.
crisis, then I might realize I'm in stress. I may not do anything about it if I'm honest. But when I'm in crisis, I realize that I'm stressed more, that I'm worrying more. But we think if we're not in a crisis, that we
Mhm.
don't have stress. No, your life, the life that you live, getting up,
Yes.
taking care of people, the work, it's stress. Even if it doesn't feel stressful, it is stressful on the mind, the body, and the spirit. And so we need to start checking in with ourselves the way we check in with our friends. What
Mhm.
do I need to, hey girl, what do you need today? Do you need some
Mhm.
space? Do you need
Mhm.
to cry? Do you
Mm.
need a good laugh? Do you need to walk? Like, what is it you need today? Do you need to have a brain dump, get some things off your chest? And
Mm.
so I started learning
That's so
those,
good, Courage.
you know,
Yeah.
That
and
it's really good.
it's changed my
Mhm.
Yeah,
life.
because you know what? You say you talk about that stress. A lot of us will say, "Oh, well, I don't get stressed out." Honey,
Mm.
everybody experiences stress in
Yes.
some form or fashion.
Yes.
It will manifest itself in your
It's
life
coming out.
in some way if
That's
you
right.
Yeah.
don't deal with it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's gonna be a zit. It's gonna be you forgetting to pick your child
Yeah.
up or take them out the car, God forbid, when you
Yeah.
go to work and they still in the car. That was stress.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
was
Yeah.
you're just not altogether there.
Right.
It's gonna
Mhm.
manifest.
Yes.
So if you don't, so it's not like, oh, if I ignore it, it'll go away.
Mm-mm.
It's
Oh,
gotta
it's
be
gonna show up, especially in your
focused.
body. You
Yes.
know, you wonder why you're
Hmm.
so tired, you don't feel good, you know, your chest is beating and hurting, and all of these different things.
Yes.
Like you said, even if you're not consciously thinking I'm stressed,
Right.
your
Yes.
subconscious knows really what you're dealing with. And generally, that's how your body begins to react. That's why people have heart attacks just like that, just
Yeah.
out the blue, have no idea that they were carrying that type of, stress. The one question that I wanted to go back and ask you too is, so did you start from Genesis and go to Revelation? Did you have specific books of the Bible that you begin to read? Like what did that process look like? Because I'm sure there's individuals on here, even myself in this season, God has challenged me to read the word more. You know, I love books, honey.
Yeah.
All the books. Your book, this book, Cindy Trim book, all he said,
Yeah.
read the book. I said,
Right.
oh, yeah, you're right. You know, I do my little
But
devotions every day and all of those things. But ever since I met you, and Tanya and I have talked about it, and I even talked to one of my best friends about it the other day about tithing your time. You know,
yeah.
once you hear something, you held accountable, and the
Yes.
Lord was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna need a little bit more of you. So
Yeah.
what did that look like during your reading process?
I initially started with Genesis, right? But
Mhm.
I quickly, which I enjoyed. I was like, these people are ratchet.
Right.
But
The Bible's a good book,
listen,
man.
who
It's
needs
so good.
housewives? This
Mhm.
right here is a page turner. I was like, oh, what? I was like, well, these people crazy, right? Because I never really read it that way. I never really read it that way. And
Right.
so, but what I switched into doing, which was like, it really changed. Is so I was going to church every Sunday, and
Mhm.
every Sunday he would have scripture reference. So
Mhm.
let's say Acts chapter 2, verses 10 through 13 or
Yeah.
something. That week, I would read the entire
Hmm.
book of Acts.
Got you.
I would
Okay.
study the entire book of Acts. And
Yeah.
some of those
Yes.
weeks had a little more thick, because sometimes he would have like five. I'm like, five? Bruh, you was tripping, right? But I'd be like, okay, it's fine. I'm gonna get in here because I want to read the backstory, right?
Right.
Like this is gonna help that message that I'm under this house, right? It's gonna help that message go even deeper. I'm going to be able to apply the word on another level. And so that's where I started to go. They would send out, you can usually get like sermon notes. I would
Mhm.
watch the sermon more than one time. I would listen to it again.
Mhm.
And then I would go through those books of the Bible.
Yeah.
That's what kind of led what my reading was. Sometimes I went to things that were topical. So I want
Yeah.
to read everything the Bible says about
Yeah.
marriage. But my
Mhm.
favorite things, the things that kept me probably the longest, were entire books or reading the entire life of a person, right?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
Mhm.
entire life. I wanted to read Abraham's entire life, how God moved in the seasons. Because when you look at somebody's entire life, you can see how God moved in those seasons, the
The
seasons that they
whole
went
through,
through,
yeah, through the
right?
Right.
whole thing.
They had
Yeah.
ups and they had downs. So this
Yeah.
idea that I wouldn't have any downs, that's insane. This idea that I can't make mistakes and God still bless me, that's insane.
Mhm.
Um, this
Yeah.
idea that I can act the fool and the Lord ain't gonna get with me,
There's
that's
yeah.
also insane, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
I
Exactly.
see all of this, the entirety of a person's life, and that really helped me to see God in a very relational way. Like
Mhm.
this is
Hmm.
how He treats His people, right? And I'm
Mhm.
Yes.
one of His people because I want to know how you're going to treat me. And I'm not a person that thinks I'm so special that you're going to treat those people like crap. But then now, because we friends, you're going to all of a sudden treat me good. I don't think that. So I want to
Mhm.
know, how do you treat the people in your life?
That's
God
good.
is
Yes.
not exempt from that. If He
Yeah.
wants us to have a relationship, I need to do it like it's going to be a relationship. So that
That's
means
good.
I need to see, how does He treat people? How does he
Yeah.
show up for people?
Mhm.
And to see that, it was like God is such like he's just so amazing.
Mhm.
Now I used to see these T-shirts when I was in college. I hated them. And it said I hated them shirts. I was like, that is so disrespectful. It was said, Jesus is my homeboy, and I
Mhm.
hated those shirts because I felt
Mhm.
like it did not give God like the deityism that
Right.
The
he
Like it was
reverence, the
it
reverence.
was
disrespectful.
disrespectful. But
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
Jesus is my homeboy.
No, for
Like,
real.
you know what a homeboy life is? A
Yeah.
homeboy is gonna take one for the team. Homeboy's
Mhm.
gonna have your back. You can
Come
tell
on.
that homeboy anything.
Come
He
on.
ain't gonna judge you, and he ain't gonna tell nobody your business. Like
Mhm.
Right.
he ride and dodge for you. Like they talking about ride or die. God is not ride or
Literally.
die. Like
I
ride.
call him that
Literally
all the
died
time.
this
Listen,
Yes, I
week,
do.
actually. Yeah,
yes,
okay, for us.
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Like
Hmm.
come
Yes.
on. And
Yes.
so God became like like he's my dude. I talk to him. This is
I love that. That's the other
yeah,
shirt I'm seeing. God is
Yes.
my dude.
No,
yes.
for real. Like
God is my
for real.
dude.
But
I need to
that's
give
what
him another shirt.
relationship
Yeah.
does. And why I wanted you to stay there is, I've been guilty of it. I'm sure, all of us have been, but
Hmm.
in this day and age, sometimes I find believers can be very lazy. So
Yes.
we want God to,
Oh,
bless
speak
us.
on it.
We want the business, we want the relationship, we want the ministry, we want all of these things, but we want to just quote the scripture. So a little seed, I've been there. Like I sowed that seed for that new car or that new business or that new, I sowed my seed. I did my part. But the one thing that I love about your story, and I'm telling you, it encourages me and inspires me to dig deeper in the things of God because you did the work. You read the scripture. You watched the sermon more than one, two, three times. You put the time in that it took and continues to take, because now that you're where you're at, you can't stop spending the
No.
time with God. You can't, stop watching the sermon again and things of that nature. And so in this season, I just want people to know that we have to partner with God. It's a
Hmm.
partnership, it's a
Yep.
relationship. And honestly, if we just want to be real, he's really done all that he's supposed to do. Like
Yeah.
he really, if he never did anything else,
Yeah.
yo, we good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the
However,
midst of it right now. The stone's getting to be ready to
absolutely.
be rolled tomorrow.
Yes.
Absolutely. But he's calling us to a deeper place, a place of
Hmm.
accountability, a place of spending time with him. Like even when we said, I remember being in school and I would be up till 1:32, whatever, doing, my homework, procrastinating, Lord, but doing my homework. And then I had to go to work the next day. And I remember the Holy Spirit would whisper sometimes, like, it would be nice if me and you spent that type of time. What?
Woo!
What?
Yes.
Are you
Yes.
because when we think about it, we spend time where we want to spend time.
Yes.
2 hours in 24 hours to spend with the one who died, hung on the cross, did everything for us while we were yet sinners. So we
Yes.
wasn't even in a space that, we deserve that.
You better preach, Benicia, because I mean, that's real. That's
Right.
real. And it's not, you can't just give a little and then sit back and wait to see.
And want
It's
so
not,
much,
yes.
and I like what you said. So we're not on here saying everybody start with 2 minutes, but the one thing that I do know, and the one thing that you confirmed, is that as you begin, whether it's 15 minutes or 20, your desire for it will
Yes.
grow. So
Yes.
you will
Yes.
come to a place where you like, you know what, I'll start off saying I'm gonna read one chapter, and before I know it, I'm in the three, because like you
Yes.
said, it's so good. And the one thing that I love about God is, and again, you confirm this, is that it supernaturally begins to change you, your mindset. What
Yes.
the
Yep.
word says, renews your mind.
Right.
So you were
Yes.
just you were just watching, you were just reading. I'm sure
Hmm.
praying, but sometimes we think that it's a magical equation. Well, if I do A plus B plus C, boom, there it is. And God is saying, if you just come to me, if
Right.
you just make yourself available,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I will begin to do the rest. So I'm
And you know
encouraged,
what?
girl.
That,
I'm
yeah,
encouraged.
I
Good.
am
Good.
encouraged too. And
Good.
I think a lot of people
Excuse me.
on that are taking part in this
Excuse me.
with us, and they've said the same thing. I mean, Judea's saying it here, reading the word helped me
Hmm.
to accept myself and my shortcomings
Yes.
because she
Come
spent
on,
time with
Judea.
him. Yes,
Hey,
and
man.
Vicky.
Putting up these comments all
Yes,
day. Come
that's my
on.
friend. Hey, Judea.
Hey,
Hey, friend.
girl.
It's just great. Everybody's recognizing the key word that kept jumping out to me is that we have to chase after him.
Come on.
Yes,
We have to chase. Chase requires your heartbeat, your blood pressure, your pulse is going to go up
Mm,
when you want something, or when somebody walks in the room that excites you. Your
mm,
blood work just shifts. Everything
mm,
shifts. You can't wait till it all flatlines and people are yelling clear, trying
mm,
to
right,
bring you back.
mm,
You
right.
need to continue to chase him.
mm,
And God recognizes that. I always say the blessings in the movement, because he's
mm,
going to turn around and look around and say, who is that? Oh,
mm,
look at courage. She at it
mm,
again. Look at
mm,
my child.
mm,
Look at what she's doing.
mm,
Let me open this door so she can walk through.
mm,
My faithful servant,
mm,
Benicia, look at her again,
mm,
bringing people to me. Let me open this door so
mm.
she can walk through. We have to continue to look and chase for him,
Yeah.
and he will always be there for us. Make the vision plain and straight.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
honestly believe that. But if we sit back and wait for him to, I move, then you move. Okay, I move, then you move. And it don't work like that. The
Mm.
song might, but
I was
life
just
don't
about
work
to
like
say,
that.
oh, no.
But courage, girl, we can stay on here with you all day. God bless you for all that you're
Thank
doing,
you
and
so
and
much.
the power that
Amazing.
you're pouring into us
Yes.
and the people that are watching.
And the people. Yes. And we want to just
Yes.
encourage everyone. If you have been encouraged on today, you don't know the half of this woman's story. Please get her book. It's called Power Principles, Courageous Living: How I Overcame Depression and Took My Life Back. Listen, no
Hello.
matter where you are today, you can have the courage and
Yes.
take your life back. So, where
Yes.
can they find your book? Tell us about your website, all of those good things.
Yes, right now I would love, I'm always like, oh, get it from the website. No, I want you to get the book from Amazon.
Mhm.
I am social distancing and I am staying at home. I will not be delivering any books. I will not be going to the post office.
That's right. Obey the
So,
laws of the
okay,
land,
I
girl.
don't want y'all going to the website think you're going to get an autographed signed copy because you're not. Okay, go to Amazon, friend.
The next event, she'll copy it.
Yes, yes. So go ahead and you can order the book from Amazon.com, and use your Prime. Get it fast, child, because it's a good read. You can
Yeah.
also hit me up, Courage. I'm Courage Molina everywhere on all social media platforms. But I do have a program that starts tomorrow. I know,
I'm
so
Tell
excited,
us
right?
excited
all
It's just
about it.
signed up. Yes, yes,
too.
yes. So
Yes.
listen, this is like we're saying, like you have to start somewhere,
Hmm.
right? Everybody's not necessarily ready for 2 hours and 24 minutes,
That's
right?
right.
We're gonna get there, but everybody's not necessarily ready for the 2 hours and 24 minutes. But you do have to lean into doing things differently. And so I have this program. It's called Bold, Confident, and Courageous. This is the first program I have had that is for both men and women. So
Mhm.
fellas, y'all always feel some
Come
type of way.
on.
Go ahead and get in this one. I stay getting the email. You don't love the fellas? No, I love y'all. So go ahead and get in. It is called Bold, Confident, and Courageous. And basically, it is like coaching by text. So
Hmm.
every single day, starting tomorrow, you will get a text message from me, Courage Molina,
Yes.
with an actionable step, some encouragement, or a mini Bible story,
Hmm.
mini Bible study. And the reason for that is because we have to get these like daily habits. What does it look like? Okay, this has been a great interview, and you hear these great things, and you get a great sermon. Okay, that's good. How do I do it? So tomorrow when I wake up, what
Yeah.
should I do so that I can start going on this journey? It is
Right.
something small. It's something you can do in less than 20 minutes. It
Yeah.
is something to kind of get your mind focused on the right thing for that day. Like here is something for you to focus on. And I feel like one of the things that we're often missing is clarity, consistency, and confidence.
That's right.
There is clarity in this program. You will know exactly what you need to do for that day because I'm going to text you and I'm going to make it plain.
Right.
Consistency, you're going to get one every single day. It is not something that you have to check into, you have to log into. You have your phone all the time anyway.
That's
Don't act
right.
like you don't, because we social distancing, so we ain't got nothing else to do but get on these devices.
Yeah.
The text message is going to come right to your phone.
Yeah.
Consistency, and you have confidence that this is going to work because I'm the proof in the pudding.
That's right.
Hey,
That's
come on.
good.
Stand
I'm the
on it.
proof in the
How
pudding.
about that?
Okay,
Yes.
you can
Yes.
sign up. You can go to bit.ly/courageous tribe. You're going to be a part of the tribe. bit.ly/courageous tribe.
Yeah.
And you can use the discount code courage. Since y'all on here, and y'all can get $25 off. That means the entire program is $75. I don't really talk about money a lot when I talk about a program, but in this season, I feel like I need to make it extremely plain for you. We are talking about 230 something text messages. That is 30 cents a day.
Right.
It's going to start April 12th to December 31st. Invest in yourself in this season. Invest in becoming bolder in your faith. What would you do if you were bolder in your faith? Who would you become? Like, who is God calling you to become? Something small. What can I start doing every day? We get up and we have things on our calendar for reading the word. We have things on our calendar for working out. What actions are you taking to start applying those biblical principles to your marriage, to your finances, to your fitness, right? And so I just want to encourage you guys to get in.
Did I get that right? Sorry to interrupt you. Did I get that right? I want to make sure I did that right. Courageous tribe.
It is bit.ly/courageous tribe.
All right. Go ahead. Keep talking because that's good stuff.
So I think that's the huge part of it, right? We go to conferences and we just get so worked up. We listen to podcasts and we get so excited.
Yeah.
But then we go home.
Those out. Exactly.
There needs to be some action items, right? There needs to be some implementation things, right, Benicia. Practical things that you can implement to move forward, and something that's really important, really, to all three of us. And we coach on it, and that's confidence. And that text message coming through is going to give you a jolt every day.
Yes.
That's right.
No, and sometimes you're not going to want a jolt, but you're going to get a jolt anyway.
Exactly.
And you're so worthy of it. And we talked about this on the pre-show, because it's always a pre-show, right? Talked about on the pre-show how I want you guys to understand you're looking at three coaches right now, but there is nothing that I wouldn't do to support and push these other two women forward.
Absolutely.
So
amen.
I want you to take a look at this program and step out and make a change for yourself.
Yes.
I have a program coming out the beginning of next month, and you'll see some things coming out about that.
Yes.
Take advantage of all the fruit that's being put in front of you.
That's right.
To, you know what, this quarantine is not gonna, it's gonna be an impact on your life. Now, what kind of impact is it gonna be for you?
It's up to you. That's right.
It's really up to you. How are you gonna come out on the other side? Yes.
I'm gonna get a t-shirt that says body made in quarantine, because I have been getting serious about my fitness. I've been getting serious about my hydration, and I just keep having that mindset. What else am I going to develop during this quarantine?
Yes.
Right? It ain't gonna be my waistline. I'm gonna be developing something else. Your girl gonna be, when we come out this quarantine, I'm gonna be like, oh, right. Who are you gonna be when you come out this quarantine? Are you gonna be the same person that you were coming in? Are you gonna be worse off? What are you doing in this forced time out?
Right.
Yes. Are you going to shift your mindset towards success? Are you going to still be crying about the same things that happened before hundreds and thousands of people got sick?
Right.
What's going to be the trigger for you? Being locked down in your house and having God set you apart? Is that not enough for you?
Right.
What's going to jolt you to make a change? So go to the link,
Mhm.
and adjust your mindset. Decide you're going to do something for yourself. Be
Mhm.
here next Saturday when we have
Yeah.
another great guest in front of you for
Mhm.
nothing. You just all you have to do is go to Facebook and click
That's it. That's
and
it.
be encouraged and be educated and rise. That's
Yes.
what we are about at Arise and Shine, bringing you some awesome triumph stories. Courage, you delivered
Yes,
Thank you.
today.
ma'am.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am, you delivered. We adore you for
Yes.
sharing and being so transparent with all of us. You have to let us know how the program is going
I'm
and
so
Yes.
excited.
everything,
Yes.
and all the books that Amazon delivers on your behalf,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
yes.
Um,
Please order from
and
Amazon.
Right.
we'll do some more together because
Mhm.
it may sound cliche, but I know Benicia and I both feel like we need courage in our life,
Oh
right?
yes.
Listen,
Absolutely.
listen, I
Yes.
need courage in my life. So
I
come
know
through.
that's right.
Yes.
So when you running low, we'll throw some at you.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. I love you,
For
ladies.
sure. We love you
Thank
too.
you.
One
Sign off
last
for us,
thing.
Benicia.
One last thing. Where can they hear your podcast? Because you do
Oh,
have a
podcast.
podcast called A Dose of Courage. So where can they
Yes.
find you for your podcast?
Yes, you can find me any place you listen to podcasts. I'm on iTunes,
Okay.
iHeartRadio, Spotify,
Mhm.
Podbean, Google Play. Any place that you listen to podcasts, you can find me. And if you don't listen to podcasts, you can actually find it on YouTube also.
Okay. Well, awesome. We just want to say thank you
Thank you
again. This
so
has
much.
been amazing. Thank you for being true to the journey and the process and doing the work because it wasn't just for you. It was for all of the individuals that come across your path that you get to encourage. So we just thank you and for not being selfish,
Thank you for being a
Yes,
sharer. I share.
yes,
I learned that in
yes,
kindergarten.
you do
So I
share.
share.
We
Thank you
love you.
guys. We love all of you for joining us.
Yes,
Have a
thank you
blessed
for
one.
joining.
Love y'all.
We'll see you next
Love you.
Saturday. And don't forget to tune in on Thursday to our watch parties for past
Yes,
episodes.
yes,
And just keep an eye out. Make sure if you're not a member of Then I Rise that you definitely join that and look for us
yeah.
on YouTube at Arise N,
And
the number N, shine dot live.
Okay.
See you
yes.
soon.
All right. Later.
Bye.
Bye bye.